My theory on the existence of God is probably completely different than anything you've ever heard before. But if you give me a chance, I think you'll find that it makes an awful lot of sense, scientifically and logically. I was born in a small town in Texas where they had a number of different churches of different religions, but they were all Christian. Every time the church doors opened, we were there. My grandparents were devout Christians. I learned the ways of the Christian God, the one religion I know the most about. I will admit that I don't know, or will I even try to understand everything about every religion. One thing I found as I started to look at other religions, because let's face it, this is really important, right? If you pick the wrong religion, eternal damnation, right? In my search for the true religion, I believe I literally found God. I can somewhat prove with science that God exists. As I started looking at other religions, I found that all of them had basically the same core beliefs. God created everything, guides us in our everyday lives, and you should always treat others with love and respect. I'm convinced that there truly is a God. For one, I had 2 religious experiences in my life that I can't explain. This isn't about that. I believe that everyone is praying to the same God. Part of the Christian Bible, when they tried to build a tower to God, the Tower of Babel, when God sent everyone off in different directions, speaking different languages, wouldn't it be reasonable to believe that people speaking different languages and living in different parts of the world would interpret God in different ways? Wouldn't God, the creator of all things, find a way to speak to his creations? I like to note that in the Native American religion, they have something like that. It is said that in the beginning, all people was on an island, and the Great Spirit came down and broke up the island and sent all people in different directions. They would make their own religions, but in the end, all people would come together and take all the good from each religion and create the one true religion to God. It's funny because if you take all the continents of the earth, they fit together perfectly like a puzzle. Like they all used to be together, one big island. Coincidence? Maybe. In the beginning, there was nothing but dark force and dark matter. Somehow it gained consciousness, and then it did something really miraculous. It created matter and antimatter out of nothing. Somehow dark matter, which I believe is nothing but thought, because thought is something that has no mass, like dark matter, but controls mass. A thought can move a mountain or put a person in space. That is how I believe that we are created like God. Everything man has ever created started with a thought. Maybe the universe started the same way. Somehow, over time, God was able to use thought, or you could say telekinetic energy, to manipulate and move matter and antimatter by controlling gravity. Scientists have proven that dark matter seems to control gravity, and gravity controls everything. Without gravity, our sun would be nothing but matter and antimatter floating in an endless sea of dark matter. Our planet wouldn't exist. We would just be particles floating around. Dark matter has no mass, but it takes up an awfully lot of space. It encompasses 94 to 96% of the universe. It's everywhere. It's all around us, and it's in us. Some even have gone so far as to call it the God particle. Stephen Hawking himself once said that if dark matter isn't God, it deserves to be called that. Unrelated theory. Most scientists believe that if we were able to harness a large portion of our brain capacity, that we would be able to control gravity. God is controlling gravity on a molecular level. So God started using gravity to collide matter and antimatter together in different ways. Next thing you know, God was creating solar systems and galaxies and us. I do believe that we are special to God because we provide something that galaxies and solar systems don't. That's emotions. God feels the love and the hate, the happiness and the sadness. Now God has eyes to see the rainbow, ears to hear a beautiful symphony, and fingers to create a beautiful work of art. That's how I believe that we are special to God. Not to say that God hasn't created other solar systems, created creatures like us, but like a parent, God has watched us grow. The sad part is God also feels the axe in the head, the hate and all the cruelty, being bullied or ridiculed, or starvation and the feeling of hopelessness and despair. I doubt if God likes that. For a scientist or anyone else to say there's no possibility of the existence of God, I say they're naive. For a germ in a petri dish, that petri dish is its universe. So why is it so hard to believe that we could be included in something much larger? This time on Earth could be the same as spending the time in your mother's womb. Maybe your spirit has to grow to move on, like the Buddhists say. For another thing, something seems to be intentionally manipulating our environment. Science have been studying the stars for ages. They've been studying suns like ours, and every sun they've ever studied let off solar flares that were so intense that it would wipe out our entire planet. Our sun never had a solar flare like that because of the gravity holding it together. Our planet has a very cool force field around it that protects us from things in space. They burn up as they enter our atmosphere. Our planet is positioned so precisely that just the tilt of the Earth decides summer and winter. Any closer or farther away, we wouldn't survive. Scientists have been studying solar flares from our sun for a while now. Recently, there was one that was so intense and pointed directly towards the Earth. Scientists feared for the worst. They feared that the cosmic radiation was going to take out our power grid, or worse. They made a startling discovery. They found that thousands of miles out in space, there's another force field that stopped the solar flare. They can't explain that one at all. I can. The hand of God. God is protecting us from the solar flares and seems to be intentionally manipulating our environment. If God is stopping solar flares that would harm us, but allowing smaller solar flares to create the northern lights to entertain us, does that mean that dark matter, dark force, has intent, and that it cares about the way we feel? God, right? Scientists have said that we're just lucky. Lucky, I say? The odds of our dark matter, matter and antimatter, atoms and molecules coming together in the shape of a body and formulating thought to say this right now, well, the odds of that just happening is beyond infinite. It would be like winning the lottery thousands of times a day for the next 10,000 years. That is a little bit beyond luck, wouldn't you say? My theory on religion. I believe the way religion, mankind, and God are all related is dark matter is inside us, telling us that there's something more, which makes people want to congregate and tell other people about the way they feel. Some people, let's say like Moses, had so much dark matter, God, in him, which could make them feel more connected to God. Also, to the point that it seemed that Moses could control gravity like God. That's how our religions are born. When we die, first question that only has one answer. If you were to die and you could only take one thing with you, what would that be? The only answer is memories. And that may be exactly what you take with you. I believe, and it's just what I believe, God could make heaven just the way you envision it, at least at first. So if you believed in streets of gold or 12 virgins or anything else that you envision, God could easily make that happen. We all go to heaven, that we become dark matter again and join with God and see everything that ever was and everything that will be. That's heaven. Native Americans say that when you die, you go back to the earth to be recreated, but your spirit moves on and joins with the Great Spirit. I can believe that. I believe that all religions that preach love and compassion for the earth and your fellow man are true. Like Pope Francis stated when asked about the tolerance with religion, All religions are true because they are true in the hearts and minds of the people who believe in them. Well spoken. Maybe someday we will put our religious differences aside and come together as the people of the earth and take the good from all the religions and create the one true religion to God. Then God will smile. Thank you.